Well, many residents in BC who put a down payment on a pre-build are getting ready to take ownership. But what if the bank says your new home is worth far less than what you paid? Joining us this morning with more is Peter Sashecki from Everything Financial. Good morning, Peter. Good to see you.
Good morning, Carrie.
And that's got to be frustrating for anyone who does put a down payment on a pre-build, something that won't be finished until years ahead. And in a lot of cases, the price and what it's worth may increase. I think that's what a lot of people hope. In the odd occasion, that appraisal could actually go down. So how big of a discrepancy could people see between those two prices?
We're seeing discrepancies right now between Vancouver and Toronto. That's the two big cities it's happening in, of 100, 150,000, 200,000 in some cases. That's a little more rare on a condo. But $100,000 is something that's pretty normal right now. So suddenly the bank, if your pre-build was, let's just say simple math, 700,000, and now it's 600,000, the bank is not giving you money to equal the 700,000. They're only going to lend up to the $600,000 mark, and that creates the problem. You don't have enough money.
Wow, and this really could come as a shock for people who maybe will even feel cheated. So how can you back out of the deal in this situation?
Back out of the deal, lose your deposit, get sued by the developer because you're not satisfying the contract, could cause bankruptcy. So let's go down. There's a nice negative path for a Wednesday morning. Or don't back out of the deal and find a way to finance the property and get the extra money so you can take ownership of the property.
Okay, so let's talk more about that. If there is that new appraisal that is less than the original purchase, how does someone make up that difference?
Well, you start with family maybe and see if you can borrow the money, or hopefully maybe you have the extra money, but that could deplete all your savings that you might have had to move into this new condo or new house, and suddenly you're kind of house poor and cash poor at the same time. Or you can look at the bank and look at a refinance option where suddenly maybe you're not putting down 20%, because that money you put down is kind of eaten up and just gone into the equity of the condo. And you can do a scenario where you're now doing a CMHC insured mortgage where you might need to put, you'll need to put down probably another 5% of the new lower cost value. So you still have to come up with some more money, but at least that gets you your condo, doesn't have you going for bankruptcy or anything like that. So there was an example where the condo was worth 700, and now it's worth 600. So basically, instead of coming up with $100,000 to make up the shortfall from the bank, from the 6 to the 700, they had to come up with 5% of 600,000. So coming up with 30,000 was definitely easier for them than coming up with an additional $100,000, and they are able to satisfy the contract and still get their condo.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts here when it comes to a pre-build, a pre-sale, because you really don't know what's going to happen. I guess, what is your piece of advice you'd give to people who are considering getting into a home purchase situation like that?
Don't buy with emotion. Everyone's been buying the pre-builds based on the premise, the myth, the hoopla that Vancouver's a sure, or Toronto too, is a sure bet. And you're going to buy this pre-build, and by the time you move in, don't worry, Carrie, it was 700,000. It's going to be 850. You can flip it. You'll make money. That's not the case. That just doesn't happen as much as people thought. There was a window when it happened. So maybe don't look at the brand new condo. Maybe look at, like we say, like with cars, if you look at the used one, it's already depreciated, and hard to believe, but condos do depreciate. And look at maybe not the shiny new object, and look at your affordability now, not what you think your affordability is going to be 3 years from now or 4 years from now, because Vancouver used to, condos and houses used to go up at a rate a little higher than the national average. Well, now Vancouver's a little bit below the national average, and that's a whole other segment of all the factors that are causing that. But you can't bank on what you think something will be worth. You have to create a smart plan on what it's worth now, what you can afford now, and stick with that instead of chasing the shiny new toy that you think it's going to be in 3 years from now.
It's fun to chase that shiny new toy, but it's not good for us. Peter Sashecki.
Which you might not be able to afford it, though.
Exactly. Peter Sashecki with Everything Financial. Thanks, Peter. Have a good day. We'll chat next week.
Thanks, Gary. Have a great day.